It's finally Friday. This is a late post. Gracie had senior night soccer tonight, so my apologies. We have 30 seconds of box shoulder stretch, 30 seconds of box hamstring stretch, 30 seconds of C-kip practice, and we're going to move through that 4 times for our connectivity for the day. Box shoulder, palms flat on the box. The height of the box isn't paramount to the success of the connection, but certainly could be moved higher if necessary. I know that there are some athletes that have some hypermobility with the shoulder and perhaps maybe even into the thoracic, but pushing the armpits down as close to the floor as possible is going to make for a better connection, and then also pushing the hips back towards the heels, one or the other or both. The box hamstring stretch is our seated hamstring stretch, only in a handstand position. So we basically just switch our position out from the hands being on the box to our toes being on a box and our hands being on the floor. Get ourselves in a nice static shaping type L position. Walk our chest as close to the box as we possibly can, but only while maintaining complete lockout of the knees. And then, so essentially hips to hands, one linear position, hips to toes, one straight line, no flexion or deviation from either of those, even if the angle about the torso isn't where we would like it to be. For the C-kips, we're just looking to move through the arch and hollow position again, though when we move from one to the next, what we don't want to see is any deviation from the arch or the hollow position. We don't want to add any angles, so we don't want to see elbow flexion. We're not looking to see knee flexion. We'd like to keep our feet together and our toes pointed. If need be, add something between the feet for some distraction. Add something in front and or behind the hips for some sort of distraction. That'll give you sort of tactile feedback whether or not you're deviating from any of the positions. For the workout, benchmark Helen, 3 rounds for time of 400-meter run, 21 kettlebell swings, and 12 pull-ups. We have 1.5. Again, this is where I beg to differ from SugarWOD, and so does originalcrossfit.com, but we'll stick by it. 1.5 pood and 1 pood. That comes out to 36 pounds or 53 pounds. I think we have 136, one true competition bell at 1 pood. I think I'm staring at it though. I think it's here sitting on my floor. So it's 35 and 50 essentially is what the load is for this. And then for our for the 12 pull-ups, those can be done anyhow. You can use a C-kip or the butterfly kip. However, we started the week with some chest bar pull-ups. It's a good opportunity to, this isn't quite as high a volume as, maybe some other workouts with pull-ups, 36 in total. Grip certainly becomes a factor. You've got 63 kettlebell swings, 36 pull-ups. We're looking at 100 grip intensive movements plus some running. But for the pull-ups, for the B and C offerings, I put some different options there so we could sort of draw a line in the sand from one workout to the next. I know that to start the week we had some chest bar pull-ups, and the offerings for the B and A progressions were the jumping pull-up variations. And then being that today had the chin over the bar pull-ups, figured it was a good opportunity to just sort of, like I said before, like it's never let's offer this particular modification and then let's never offer these other ones ever again. So I've given this example before when we talk about like the the muscle ups, especially like a band assisted bar muscle up. Love that scale. It's a great mod. It's how I learned how to do bar muscle ups eons ago. But if that's the way I work that, then that's if it's the only way that I work that, then it's I'm going to be exposed at the extent of my, wherever the shortcomings are in my pull or in my transition or in my press out, those will be exposed when I remove the band from the equation. And there are some other aspects of the bar muscle or the muscle up in general that I could be attacking via, maybe a jumping muscle up or a seated band assisted ring muscle up. I mean, a lot of other options, but that's neither here nor there. We're talking about pull-ups. So with that, whenever I've removed the band assisted bar muscle up from the equation, it isn't to say this isn't a good modification. We're getting rid of those forever. It's to say that today's workout, the standard is this. That way it just sort of keeps it from getting stale, where it's every time we see muscle ups, we're doing the band assisted bar muscle ups, or every time we see pull-ups, we're doing band assisted pull-ups, or what have you. And insert whatever movement that, every time we see a wall walk, or a handstand walk, we're doing seal walks. It just gets a little stale that way, and we sort of start to stagnate at wherever the ends of our capacities are for any of those particular movements, when there are plenty of other movements that we could do that are maybe more appropriate. Also, though, seeing a similar movement and using the same mod that we would use for a similar movement, only technically different, or a different intensity, like, for example, a strict pull-up versus a kipping pull-up versus a chest-to-bar pull-up versus a muscle-up. Like, that's a progression from start to finish, or maybe that's not quite linear, but that's one progression that we would maybe want to follow a different path and not use the same exact mod for all of those. I don't want to do a ring row for the strict pull-up and the kipping pull-up and the chest-to-bar pull-up and the muscle-up, really no matter what. So I would like to see some sort of variety there. Now, with that being said, today, sort of instead of the jumping pull-ups, the band-assisted pull-up would be a good modification, and then the ring row as the A progression. There's a couple of other, there's a couple loading options for the kettlebells, and then for A, you've got the it doesn't even have to be 200, it's always up to when we're talking about A. So if it says 400 meter run, could have left it at 400 meter run, and then it's just always implied that it's up to that. And then there's also the option for a row. And remember, for every 400 meter run, typically it's a 500 meter row that we sub out for those. So that's on the table as well. Not to mention the up to factor is up to 3 rounds. So if the volume of this particular workout is a little bit much, you could sub out, some repetitions, or you could sub out an entire round. I think this workout is probably doable at sub 10 for sure. Maybe even faster than that. Probably like sub 8, I would say, is probably going to be pretty. I don't know if that's an elite time or not, but I'd say that's going to be moving for sure. As far as the swings go, I always say whatever height you can swing the kettlebell without creating a second hip at your thoracic spine, that's going to be the best course of action. The American swing is probably the prescribed kettlebell swing for Helen. The Russian swing maybe doesn't provide enough range of motion or quite the stimulus that the American does, but instead of trying, to fit a square peg into a round hole and get the kettlebell pointed towards the ceiling, when I have to extend at the hip, extend at the lumbar, extend at the thoracic, extend at the cervical, and extend or flex at my elbows in order to achieve that position, just grab your thumb, your right thumb with your left hand, keep your arms extended, raise them up overhead as much as you possibly can while being in a standing hollow position. And as soon as you feel yourself start to break the hollow, that's the highest that you should swing the kettlebell. Yeah.